Big deal. We're responsible for their future. And we can leave their future in boss man hands. So we can just say, okay, leave it in his hands. If you want to be happy, let him keep on doing, you know. And I'll close with this. Dear believers, we like the job we have. We've been very fortunate that throughout history, when we was doing the Negro, whatever we was doing, we liked that. But even that, we had certain ethics. You know, one of the names they used to have for me was Ho Hog and Hank. Because they said, Hank, see, all of my friends, all the East Oakland girls, all them other niggas, those other people from the other side of town, that's where in the early years, that's where all the pimping and everything was going on. We were working class people. All of us had jobs and everything. You know, in the middle 60s and all of that. So East Oakland, West Oakland was like what Southeast used to be like a long time ago. And Northwest would have been what we were like in the 60s. The better looking girls was out there, the better schools, all that stuff. The middle class, we were so all the pimps and hustlers in those days was from West Oakland and North Oakland. And they used to call me that because all the East Oakland girls, they were the prettiest and the nicest. They was my friends. And I say, you niggas can't be pimping these is my friends. And I was big enough and powerful enough that there was nothing they could do about it. So they used to have a little, man, Hank Hog on all the holes, man. In other words, some people remember, but I didn't allow that. You know, like all the East Oakland girls, hey man, you niggas keep that stuff out there in West Oakland and all that old pimping. These is my friends. You know what I mean? In other words, we all went to school together. We all played together. So I was saying, these is my friends. Nigga, y'all can't be coming out here. Now, if you want to go with one, like I remember a couple of them, they could go with, not that I was keeping a watch on them to make sure, but it was almost like that. What's the name doing with maybe one of them might be going with Beverly or something. Yeah, nigga, you know. And so, wasn't nothing they can do about it because, anyway, so they used to say, Ho Hog and Hank. Well, I tell you, that's good. That's good because we had enough of, that's one thing about that old silly, what was that, the Nation of Shirk? The queen, the black queen type stuff. Y'all remember that? The queen of civilization? Yeah, maybe she wasn't a queen, but princess, something like that. You know, it was fun. In other words, it may sound crazy, but all this stuff, and I'll close with this, it sounds like it was miserable. Being in South America and all of that, it was wonderful. Going to Africa, everybody else was in exile and sad. I said, hey man, I've never been to Africa before, and hey, it's nice. And when I wanted to get back busy again, I just looked on the map and it said I had a little something. I remembered Peru. So I went back to Mexico and then I went on to Peru. They said if you want anything better and cheaper, you have to go over there to Brazil. Not Brazil. Next door is Bolivia. I went over to Bolivia and a lot of people doing good gardening and what have you there from Japan. When I went to Bolivia, everybody that lost World War two was there. I'm in a club one night hanging out with the brothers. There's an Italian, German, and everybody that lost World War II. They was big down there though. Yeah, and they were big before. And then they was talking about all them Nazis that, I'm going to close with this. I'm telling you, I was on a boat when I'm leaving Bolivia. It was all in the news. The Israelis surrounded and suspicious about some German ex-Nazi, So it's all in the papers, and then there's a white boy that I know he's a CIA agent. He's on the boat with me. When you go from Bolivia over to Peru, Lake Titicaca, it's a big lake, 12,500 feet up, the highest lake in the world, the highest navigatable lake. So the white boy, definitely, I believe he's the police, because that's everybody down there was. So he's saying, yeah, see the German tour group? I say, yeah. He said, you notice that they coming right on through with their German passports and everything. They're going to leave one of them behind, and they're going to put that Nazi right there with them, and they going on back to Germany. And they never did find, the Jews never did catch hold to that. And you go to all them places down there, and all the uniforms look like Nazi uniforms, right? And then I started reading. I said, shoot, man, the Nazis was run off from over there, but they run over here. The Japanese lost over there, but shoot, man, everywhere you look. Anyway, this is what we want for the Negro. The Negro in America, we want him, he's brought here in slavery, and we want it to help everybody come back to humanity. That'll be great for the Negro. That'll be good, It'll show the world that the Negroes is not bad after all. Are there any more questions or comments?
No, that was it.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. I'll mention it a little later. But after I get a little breather today, maybe I'm going to start putting a flyer together. Maybe I have it together within a couple of days. Yeah. We'll get together. And then, yeah. Okay. Let me pop up with a... Huh? The library do? Is this a new sponsored, who's sponsored? Okay, which library? That one right around? That one right around the book, right by your house right there?
I never tried printing there.
They got a printer. They got a printer. Yeah. I used to use that library. It was I used it all the time. That was when libraries were very useful. I mean, if you wanted to research a subject, you just go right down to the library and bring out a stack of books. Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, if a person read the Quran and observe the teachings, his parents will on the day of judgment be awarded with a crown, the illumination of which will be brighter than the light of the sun. When the light of the sun were inside the house in the world, the sun had come from the sky down to us. Then the prophet asked, now, what do you think of that person who has himself performed the act mentioned above? In other words, this Quran, recitation of Quran, is like said to be like the sun. And now suppose you're reciting it in the house yourself. So it says, according to the present tradition, when the parents of a person who recites the Quran and acts upon it, it will be awarded a crown shining brighter than the sun. One can imagine the great reward granted to the person who had himself recited the Quran and acted upon his teaching. That's the thing, is acting upon the teaching. We got Quranic reciters, boy, I'm telling you, they be stretching out. They just don't do nothing that the Quran talks about. We don't want to be, let's see if we can pop another dua here. I won't read this. Oh, it's really, that's the long one, I think. It is related on the authority of Muslim Ibn Harith. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, upon him gave the following instruction with emphasis. When you finish your evening prayer, Salatul Maghrib, say the following supplication 7 times before talking to anybody. O Allah, save me from the fire. If you said that supplication and died the same night, you would be protected from hell. Likewise, when you finish your morning prayer, Salatul Fajr, say the following supplication 7 times before talking to anybody. O Allah, save me from the fire. If you died that day, you would be protected from the hellfire. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Alhamdulillah.